Picks and Bets, done by Prize Picks, here on the Mayo Media Network. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell as always, but we're going to talk about some playoff hockey today. That's right, DJ. We've got Tuesday, May 18th. The NHL playoffs are finally here. How you doing? And you ready for our first show about the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it's the best time of the year. There's no worries, no concerns, just good hockey to watch for me and you. So don't have to be, nervous watching any of these games. And it's the best. I'm just excited to be betting and giving you as much information as we possibly can for the 3 playoff games that are going on Tuesday. So, Matt, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
I mean, I'm doing great. Honestly, the Sunday action, which is, the 3 games on Tuesday, was absolutely insane. All credit to Boston, Washington, which was great on Saturday. But the Sunday games were all incredible, in my opinion. So I'm actually really excited to get the things. You may notice, if you're coming here expecting, the 4:30 Vancouver Calgary picks and bets. My bet is no bet, because just don't do something better with your time. Find minor league baseball, or I don't know, professional darts, just literally anything else. Vancouver, Calgary, those 2 teams are such tire fires. The whole scheduling thing is kind of ridiculous. So we are going to just start with the playoff games and not sort of, ruin the vibe, let's say, of this awesome, action-packed 3-game playoff slate. Before we get to that, though, I do have to mention 2 things. First off, love your hat, DJ.
Oh, thank you.
Repping the brand.
Nice. Nice
yeah.
hat.
And then secondly, with this newfound playoff action, make sure you're checking out prizepicks.com. So head on over to prizepicks.com, use promo code MMN when you sign up. And it's a new, not new if you're listening every day to this show, but it's a new way to engage in the games as they're going on. So you can pick an entry from their board. So for the NHL, every game has 4 players from each game, 2 from each team set up with a posted fantasy score. All you have to do is pick the over or the under on the fantasy score. So as a reminder, the scoring system is as follows. You get 3 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist, and a half point for a block, and a half point for a shot on goal. That's it. You don't need any fancy calculators. Those are the only 4 stats. It's super easy. And we've actually got a couple of picks to get you started on this Tuesday night. My guy, it's Brian Rust. He's just far too low at 2.9. All he needs is a couple shots and an assist. But what Brian Rust is doing, he's playing on the top line with Sidney Crosby and Jake Gensel, of course. He's playing on the top power play of those guys as well. On the season, Brian Rust against the Islanders has actually averaged 4 shots plus blocks per game. So literally, you just need a spiked shots game. You need 6 total, or you just need 1 point. That's really all you need. So I think he's a great over bet. DJ, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, the Florida-Tampa game, if you watched, had 9 goals, which was a crazy, crazy game. And I'm sure a lot of people will be watching again, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday. And we're losing Sam Bennett, which I think will only help some of the top guys around him. And I'm going to take Sasha Barkov, 3.5, just like you kind of mentioned. I mean, he could, in theory, get there with 7 shots on goal. I wouldn't be shocked if he did that. But him not getting a point in this game has got to be minus $1 million. He's so likely to have a point and be involved in the offense. One of their top guys on the power play shooting and just, being awesome on the power play. He scored a power play goal last game. And, I really like him to at least get 1 point and have 4 or 5 shots. So I think he gets the over pretty easily. That one seemed a little bit low for me. But yeah, definitely head over to Prize Picks. If you're lucky enough to be in the right state, you can even do some single stats. And I think a lot of these games have a lot of potential for over. I know maybe just quickly jam in the over on Talbot's saves, because that seems pretty likely. He had about 100. There's a lot of different ways to kind of go about that. So with all that being said, prizepicks.com, code MMN for a up to $100 match bonus. Is there anything else you wanted to get to before we get to the 3 games?
No, let's kick things right off with 7:30. So, 7:30 start. You get an extra 30 minutes to tinker if you're playing DFS or whatever. The Islanders at Pittsburgh, of course, minus 132 on the money line for Pittsburgh, coming off of that tough loss in overtime. I'm not sure they deserved to win necessarily, but it did feel like they were the better team for long stretches of that game. So my lean right off the bat is sort of to just go with the girl who brought me. I was on Pittsburgh before the season started, so I'm just going to stay with them. I'm not jumping off the ship. So I like Pittsburgh at -132. It feels a little bit too close on the money line. So, and I like the over 5.5 as well. It didn't quite get there, right? It was at 4 it was 4-3 actually. It did get there. What am I talking about? But the game had a ton of pace, ton of tempo, not necessarily your mama's Islanders game that you would be expecting. So I like Pittsburgh in the over. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm personally probably not touching the money line here. I think it's going to be a really, really close game, but the over actually does seem to be a little more favored in the 5.5. There was a good amount of pace. The Crosby line got a heavy dose of everyone because it was out there for so many minutes. I mean, there was overtime involved, and we saw Russ 26, Crosby 25, and Gensel 25. So I think that line in general was going to be a really good one to stack around that might go a little bit overlooked on the slate with people kind of looking at the shot totals for Vegas and the upper, like the Tampa, Florida kind of ceiling games that we saw there for a lot of players. And I think it might just get overlooked a little bit. The Islanders, they did everything they could to get Pulak and Pelech against that line, which definitely is a good defensive unit that can slow them down, but they're kind of rolling four as best as they can. So there could be some opportunity for mismatches for them. And I do like that kind of upside. I'm not kind of fully buying into Kyle Palmieri and Pajot line as being like revolutionary. They had a great, ceiling game there, but I'm not going back to it. I think what I'm more interested in is getting a couple pieces, especially if Pittsburgh won, and then some value pieces, which I really think exist here. Like guys like Wallstrom had 19 minutes at 2.9 on DraftKings. He's also a nice value to have a goal. He's on that Pajot Palmieri line and on one of the power plays, plus 350 for a kind of elite rate shooter, kind of coming out of the minors as a rookie. Just doesn't really add up to me. I think that's a bit of a mispricing there. Guys like Josh Bailey, 375, also power play. He's on a pretty good line for the Islanders. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of value in this game compared to the rest, especially because I think we both are a bit on the over.
Yeah. I think Wallstrom's my favorite, like one-off type player. My favorite to score prop. You're probably not finding a shot prop on him. But if he's playing anywhere close to 17, 18 minutes, which, 19 last game with some help in overtime. But it seems like he's right there. He's an awesome play. On the Pittsburgh side, I'm not expecting much to change. Obviously stay tuned the morning skate for the status of Evgeny Malkin. But as of Monday, he did not practice. He was not on a power play unit. So it seems like they're basically just running back the same lines, which to me just, vaults up Jared McCann into, necessary consideration. He's plus 290 to score a goal. He's, safely in the mid tier on DraftKings. And, basically you're getting a guy who every time that Malkin's been out of the lineup, McCann's been the shooter on the power play. Sidney Crosby had a great game last time out, maybe took some of those shots away from him. But man, Jared McCann was just so lethal as a power play scorer that I think 4.9 for him on DraftKings, he should go pretty low owned. I'm not expecting many people to be on him. But I think Jared McCann's one of my favorite guys, if you're not playing Sid. But I think the main guy here that I want is just Sidney Crosby. I don't even know if I need to stack him. Like the way he's been playing the last stretch running into the playoffs and then, in game one, he's actually a guy you can play on his own and expect him to get there. Playing, with Gensel and Rust, you can get exposure to those guys, but I don't think you need to sort of stack him up because he's just been such a dominant rate shooter. We lose Sam Bennett on this slate, which, is useful in DFS context, like who you playing at center. To me, Sidney Crosby's that guy. So that's sort of, and Barkov, of course, but like I'm spending up at center in general. So I think that's really where I'm looking in this one. But I mean, what are your thoughts or anything else before we move on?
A couple housekeeping notes. Dumoulin did miss practice on Monday. Not that he's a huge fantasy asset, so I would keep an eye on him because at 4K, like maybe you could talk yourself into punting with him. He almost had 30 minutes. And I just wanted to mention that he missed practice. It sounds like he'll be okay. Jari is expected to start for Pittsburgh, and we don't know yet who's starting for the Islanders. Trotz will not tip his hand. Trotz isn't going to tip his hand and let us know, but I think they're kind of expecting Varlamov to be back. We don't know for a fact yet, so just keep an eye on that as well. especially if you're going to do a showdown slate or anything of that nature. And lastly, Malkin, I think we're both expecting him to be out, but obviously keep an eye on that. He's definitely a game time decision. Just he's out there for warmups. He's in. He's 5,200, and he could be in play. I mean, he kind of always shows up in the playoffs. So I don't know if there's anything else we really need to get to.
Yeah,
before we move over. But if there's anything else,
we don't need to talk too much about it. But like, if Dumoulin's out, then this makes Pittsburgh one of the best spots for just overall value. Like when you play DFS, you usually have to punt at least one position. Cheap defense seems like a really good move here. A guy like Mike Matheson for 3,100 should get a bit of power play time, increase slightly in minutes. He's already top 4 minutes guy, but he should see a nice boost from that, maybe even playing alongside Chris Letang. But that's just one obvious spot to look. So anything else before we move on?
Like I was saying, it's like with the Islanders, they're rolling 4 lines. Most of their defensemen saw at least almost 20 minutes. Pittsburgh's not doing that. Like the top 4 for Pittsburgh defense all got 26, 26, 29, 32. Marino and Pedersen. Marino, surprisingly, kind of a bit exiled in an overtime game. So definitely Matheson, I think, is a real nice play and a guy that has a pretty high ceiling. If you look back, obviously it was Buffalo, but he had a 10 shot plus blocks game against Buffalo. I'm not saying he does that against the Islanders, but he could hit the bonus for sure. So we can. With all that being said, we spent a lot of time on that one. We can move on.
All right. So in Tampa at Florida, the big news here is Sam Bennett has been suspended for a game for boarding. We can complain all we want about why wasn't McDonough suspended or whatever, but like those are the facts. That's kind of what we got to deal with. So that kind of does throw a monkey wrench into things. Obviously, Tampa came away victorious, but yet again, it did feel like Florida was just all over them for vast stretches of that game. So I really do feel like getting them at plus money is just, it's not stealing because of course Kucherov and Vasilevsky and whatever else can just steal a game at any point. But Florida just looks so good. They're so puck dominant. So if they can stay out of the box, which, Sam Bennett did hurt them in that respect, like I kind of like Florida on the money line here, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I like the over again at 6. I think that's an easy start. I think there's gonna be a lot of upside in that. We'll see who ends up starting in that. I don't know if we have any confirmation yet on either team, but Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky look pretty human last game out.
I can confirm Andrei Vasilevsky will be starting.
Yeah, almost. You're right. Actually, you know what? It's not official yet, but you're right. There's no way they play McElhinney. He's not going to play the whole playoff. So I think the biggest note is if we can get any confirmation on who's taking Sam Bennett's power play spot. And I honestly, I feel like I can't even give like a somewhat solid answer on that. But do you have any thoughts?
I'll take a stab at it. Carter Verhaeghe.
He didn't play at either unit last game. That's why
that's my point.
That's the weirdest part, though. It's like I would say Verhaeghe for sure, and I do really think that vaults him way up the track, and he is plus 188 to score. That's not fantastic. I thought it'd be a little bit better than that. I mean, Hornqvist plus 245 seems kind of weird.
That's so obviously I like Verhaeghe playing alongside Barkov and Duclair, but Patrick Hornqvist, especially if they do maybe mix things up to try and get Hornqvist with Huberdeau. Owen Tippett, I guess, scored last game, but I still think Hornqvist with his first power play gig should be the guy. No Bennett there to sort of steal his rebounds, let's say, net front. Like it's, the Hornqvist show. Hornqvist has had great success on the year versus Tampa, 4.5 shots plus blocks per game. One of the best like matchups on the slate in terms of, when he played Tampa, he put up DraftKings points among the elites on the slate, even better than a guy like Barkov. So like, I think this is Hornqvist for me. But there's a lot of good plays on Florida, and I think I will be most heavily exposed to this Florida side. So any thoughts on any of these sort of like long shot guys or any shot props that you're looking at?
I think the longest shot that I would go for is like a Montour to score, just because he shot so many pucks at the net last game, and one of them is bound to trickle in eventually. I mean, you look at Florida, and Montour was second on 5-on-5 ice time. He had power play 2 time. Yandel had all the power play 1 run. We know that's going to happen, so it does hurt Montour's upside. But this guy is he has great wheels, and he has a just uncanny want to shoot the puck. So I do think if you're
Yeah.
playing, some Florida, it doesn't really matter who you pair them with because there's a good chance they'll be out there with them 5-on-5. So if you do like Barkov, Verhage and Montour, I think that's a way to get some savings. And I also just think that as anyone in that range, I mean, it's even between David Savard and Jan Ruda. Like, he's way more likely to score than those guys. Just being, fair. Like, he's going to shoot way more pucks. So if you're going crazy, I think he's the craziest odds. And then the other guy I had was, where is he? No one's really that crazy. I mean, I wanted to say Tippett, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I think Tippett's there, but I think just like, why not just get up to
I think
Hornqvist?
as far as shot props go, I would get Barkov every time. I mean, his prize picks numbers egregious. His shot prop numbers are probably just about equally as egregious in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guy on Tampa that I actually want is Steven Stamkos. Like, yeah, Kucherov had the explosion game, but the Kucherov, Hedman, Stamkos like triangle on the power play, it's just incredible. And yes, Kucherov had it last game, but we know historically that the guy they're trying to set up is Steven Stamkos. The 60 goal scorer, Steven Stamkos. Like, you're getting great value, I think, at plus 180 for him to score a goal. I mean, he's one of the best snipers of our, of our lifetimes. Like, it's not even, to me, it's a little crazy. I like the over here. I like both sides, obviously. So Stamkos odds, I just think are excellent. But yeah, just the one last thing on Brandon Montour. Any longtime listener of like DJ and I and the Morning Skate podcast know that like he was our dude before he got traded to Buffalo. Like I was so into Brandon Montour. I went to a freaking Flyers game when they sucked just to see the Ducks play. And Brandon Montour scored a breakaway goal as a defenseman. The picture I took of that moment is still my DraftKings profile picture, by the way. Like, I just, I caught it perfectly. I just, I got lucky. And so, it's just been my profile picture. So he's been my boy since he was a rookie, basically. And I could, talk to you about his USHL statistics or whatever, but Buffalo broken. Yep. Watching one game of the playoffs and Brandon Montour, it's just like everything came flowing back. Like, this is the player that, I'm really in on. So, like you, I think I will be getting, just my personal sprinkling of Brandon Montour, despite his non-power play one status. So let's move things along though.
Yeah, we can move to the last game. Unless there's anything else you wanted to mention. I mean, I don't want to take one game as the complete gospel, but I do think we kind of covered the most of it. And we'll see if we get any news, follow us on Twitter. We'll try to get it out. I've been trying to tweet more off my personal account, just of Lions, if I get power play or anything of that nature. So we'll move to the last game. It was, probably the most exciting 1-0 game I've ever watched. Minnesota at Vegas. Fleury continues to be the best goalie in the league, I'd say. I don't even know if that's a bold take at this point. And still got the loss as Eriksson Ekberg is the OT winner. Minnesota, the biggest underdog on the slate, got the win last time out. So, I mean, obviously the biggest thing is will Pacioretty be back or not? I think that's got to be the biggest news here. But with all that being said, without assuming if he will or won't be, what are your initial thoughts on this game?
It's weird for a 1-0 game to sort of, back my prior convictions that this game would be this series would be a lot of overs. But it did. I mean, it was just so insane. I would love to sit here and complain about the refs or whatever, but there was this much offense being created with prison rules going on. Like, if penalties were called like even remotely, like to the extent they were in the regular season, which I know it's the playoffs and you close the rule book and you throw it away and whatever, manage the game, refs, go ahead. But if those two teams get on the power play, I do think there could be a lot of goals here, especially if Patches is back. That's obviously a primary concern. But if Patches is not back, it's Cam Talbot season, baby. I'm in on Minnesota. I think if Patches is in, I'm staying away from the money line. But yeah, give me plus 140 Minnesota. Minnesota had Vegas's number all season. Cam Talbot obviously had a fantastic game, but it was pretty close both ways. So I'm here about the underdog Wild. I think they can give them a run in this series for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest part of the Pacioretty news for me is that, that line without Pacioretty had Thomas Nosek, right? That too was slotted in. I have it up actually.
Yeah, they did some other stuff. They double shifted Tuck and whatever. Yeah. It was
But
normal stuff.
They tried to match up Stone with the Kaprizov line, and the Kaprizov line absolutely caved them in.
Yeah.
I think they went for about 14 or 15 shots on net. All of them basically hit the bonus. Hartman had about 19 good chances, it felt like, and couldn't end up getting one in. So, I think that's more of the angle I'm taking. And if, Pacioretty's out and that line just isn't clicking, you're getting Zuccarello at plus 325 to score. You're getting Hartman at plus 350 to score. I might just put $20 on both of them, and maybe they both score, and you're kind of swimming, and maybe they one scores, and you're still making a nice little profit there. But those odds just don't seem right to me, at least. So that's probably my best angle. I just don't get how like Jordan Greenway's the same as them. Like the guy's out there, and he could bang one in, but I don't know, man. So that's kind of my thing.
Just another ho-hum, Kirill Kaprizov hitting over 2.5 shots for the 14th straight game now.
He might be good at hockey.
Probably doing that again. I'm going to guess that Ryan Hartman and, Kaprizov got there, of course, but Hartman and Zuccarello took a lot of shots that, usually Kaprizov's the shooter there. So, I'm pretty in on that. As far as, DraftKings goes, I don't know if I can sell myself on Zuccarello at 4,500 or Hartman. Hartman's a slightly better value just because he has better rates too historically. But Kaprizov especially is just a fantastic play. I probably will go back to the Fiala Kaprizov power play stack. Just get two key shooters on both their lines, not have to worry about 5-on-5. Like, who likes 5-on-5 hockey? Like, give me the power plays. So Fiala, I think, is a little thin at his price, if we're talking DFS. But I think he's a guy who will be, lower owned than basically anyone else in this price range. So, that's sort of just an easy way to be a little bit different and still get plays that you like, because Fiala is awesome and he's one of the best power play scorers in the league.
So really quickly, Cam Talbot, 42 stops, right? 42 shots, 42 stops. Only one player for Vegas hit the DraftKings shot on goal bonus. Could you tell me who that is?
Was it Shea Theodore?
It was Shea Theodore.
It was, okay.
Shea Theodore was the only one on defense, 5,800. I mean, like, I don't know. I really feel like tomorrow I'm going to break my vow of one lineup and might go with 2 or 3. And I hate to say it because I don't actually know, because I'm actually going to a minor league baseball game tomorrow, like you alluded to doing, stepping away from the 4:00 game. But man, dude, I want Shea Theodore. I really want Shea Theodore. I want Peter Angelo too. Like, they're both really, really good, but I really want Shea Theodore in my lineup at 5,800. That just doesn't seem like the right price for him. That just seems too low. You could really pair him with anyone. The power play line that he was with was the entire Marchessault line. I think that makes the most sense, obviously, especially because it seems like the Stone line is going against that Minnesota one. So you could definitely talk me into like a Hartman, Kaprizov, and then, Marchessault, either Smith or Carlson with Theodore, and probably Smith because I want to get more top line centers, and then just a couple punts defensemen like Montour. Like, that's kind of how I'm thinking about constructing a lineup tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's and I think
that fits.
If I'm looking for player props on the Vegas side, I do think Marchessault is the first guy I'm looking at, and Shea Theodore too. But for the exact reasons you said, like, they're sort of getting the slightly better matchups against, say, the Victor Rasks of the world rather than the Kaprizovs. So, I think that's a good way to go about things here. Just let's see. One last thing I did want to mention is that, we already kind of covered it, but Alex Tuck could be playing top line with Mark Stone, which, like, if that's the case, like, that's where you sort of look for your obvious value. So just wanted to sort of throw that one out there as like hey, just don't forget about Tuck. Yeah. Make sure you're betting his goal prop if he's playing with Mark Stone. So, all right.
That would be awesome. And like the one thing last thing, I don't want to forget it, is if we get the news that like the lines are the same for Vegas, that Mark Stone under on 3.5 seems pretty good. If there's no Pacioretty, he's with Nozick and Steven Stevenson. Like, he's not a great shooter. 3.5. I mean, he's going to have to get 2 assists, and he plays a lot of minutes and power play. You never know, but that might be a bit of a spicy take, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, no, Mark Stone is definitely not the primary shooter. So it's always dangerous, a guy as good as him, but it certainly bears out in the statistics when you look at them. So um, yeah, I think we can pretty much be done with that. I mean, these are three games that I'm really, really, really looking forward to, and I do think that the
There's so
DFS
many good
slate's really
plays. Like,
interesting. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like looking
So
right now and I'm like, wait, I forgot this. I forgot this. I'm like, how am I gonna? There's no way to get it all in. So, Matt, I think you were teeing it up.
I was teeing it up.
You were
So
teeing it up, and I was about to tee it up. So I'll let you tee it up.
we've got two bets to make. I make one, you make one, and if we both don't hit, I don't know, Jack Eichel gets traded immediately, and Sam Reinhart too. They get traded immediately. You lose. Like, well, what bet are you trying to make?
We can't cry about it.
All right.
Oh boy, oof, this is tough now.
So what's the now the stakes are high. Like, what's your bet?
I mean, do we have to make like kind of difficult bets here, or like how we Kaprizov's shot on goal over? Like, I can't. Like, it's what I mean. Like, what are these?
The odds aren't extreme on that. I mean, I think that's solid. Is that what you want to go for?
Yeah, why not? I'll take that then.
All right. If I can't take Brian Rust price picks over, like I really do feel good about that one. 2.9 is pretty egregious. But if I can't, if that's a technicality, I will take the Florida money line. Yeah, they're plus money. Yeah, Jack Eichel might be traded tomorrow, but you know what? I'm here about it. So give me Florida on the money line. I just think they're the slightly better team. I think that, if Vasilevsky has even a whiff of an off game, which, by the way, Vasilevsky's been terrible against Florida all year. He had a below 900 save percentage in like 7 matchups against them. Didn't necessarily look sharp in, game one either. Like, he was okay, I would say. I think Florida is, in to make this a long series. So I think it starts here with a home dub.
I really, really, really like Drieger if he starts tomorrow. We haven't got confirmation. I think he is the far superior goalie, and that tandem, at least he has been this year. He has a 927 save percentage, and they're like,
he's good.
Or
Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight's awesome. Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't even know what because Drieger is a couple hundred cheaper. Where is Spencer Knight? Spencer Knight's, they're both 79. And Drieger, I've just lost. Like, what happened to Drieger? Like, if he's in, it just makes your lineup a lot easier, I think, because he could. I mean, last time out against Tampa, it was the 10th, 30 save shutout.
Yeah,
like I think that game's gonna have a ton of pace.
Goalie in general, just one last thing. Goalie in general is real interesting because there's usually like the 7K guy where it's like, plug your nose and like, yeah, he's 1,500 cheaper than the most expensive guy. So like you're not getting that here. Like Marc-Andre Fleury at 8,400 is the most expensive goalie, and the cheapest goalie is Cam Talbot at 7,500. So it's really, tightly condensed in terms of pricing. So
you think the ownership is going to be high on Talbot?
I honestly don't think so. It'll like there's only 6 goalies to pick from, but I don't think he will be the most popular goalie. No. So
fair enough. That's fair.
All right. Let's get on out of here. Make sure you're following the Mayo Media Network at Mayo Media Net. I did see a little birdie told me in my Pat Mayo Experience newsletter in my email, which, by the way, sign up for that he's giving away a ton of money for the PGA Championship. So make sure you're following Pat on basically any possible social media, whatever, email. Like, free money is free money. So make sure you're doing that. Show him some love for giving 2 buffoons like DJ and I a platform.
Buffoons.
And,
what? Actually, we really are buffoons if we're going to use the term buffoons.
All right. Yes. Yes. That wins on a technicality. All right. But yeah. Best of luck and enjoy the crap out of this Tuesday slate. We'll be back here on Thursday. So, DJ, from myself, good luck out there. We will see you.